Hello YouTube, Tim here. I've got a project that the good Sir Ken Holm proposed to produce an Indonesian bow of the style which somebody posted a picture of on the Google Plus crafting community. So if you haven't been there, first of all, I highly recommend it. Go and check it out. The crafting community is great. We've got tons of cool people with lots of really cool ideas. The basic idea here is I'm going to flatten the bow. It's a 48-inch long core. The ultimate bow should be about 120 centimeters long, and hey, that's about 47 point some odd inches. So this is going to be perfect because we'll lose a little bit of length after we flatten it. Speaking of which, it's going to be a very aggressive flattening. So this is going to be a light bow, but I'm going to try and keep it to give it a little bit of snap while still flattening it as much as it needs to be flattened. The terminal 6 inches on either side is going to be flattened front to back as Sia's, and that's it. Then I'm going to send it off to Ken, and Ken's going to carry it off from there. This is cool. This is going to be a group build-along, sort of. And this will prove to be hopefully helpful for anybody who's interested in traditional Indonesian archery. So thanks to Mr. Holm, and let's get started. I've taken the center, true center, and marked 2 inches on either side. Ultimately, the handle is going to be built up from 2 inches on either side, a total of 4 inches, and it's going to be built up to 1.5-inch PVC pipe, or Ken was thinking maybe bamboo, but I'll send the 1.5-inch and we'll just see what happens. I haven't done a good in-depth build along in a little while, so I'm excited to do this, and then hopefully I'll also manage to do get back to doing some weapons. I've been extraordinarily busy. People have really been keeping me hopping around with one thing or another, be it with my actual work or with PVC. I'm so pleased with just the response and engagement that I get here on YouTube and elsewhere. If you haven't, up in the top, I will put a link to my Flickr gallery. It's not a bad place just to go and get a really quick overview of all of the different projects that I've done over the last year or so. Not all of them, but most of the good ones, the ones that I've found worth picturing. I probably should go dig up some extra photographs and stuff like that of some other ones that I haven't put there yet, but there's a good variety, and it shows a whole bunch of things that you can do with PVC. Bows and otherwise, so check it out. Likewise, check out the PVC crafting community. Other people are doing some amazing things. You'd be surprised at how cool and just how clever some people are. It's always inspiring to go see what other people are thinking of. Put a little heat down the pipe. I'm in the garage because my wife kicked me out of the house. Well, making bows. So no more making bows in the kitchen, so for now it's either the garage or the basement. And the weather's beautiful today, so the basement it will be. Completely a side note, something else that I use Google Plus Instant Backup to back up all my photos and videos, so as soon as I take them, they're in the cloud. I also use Dropbox to do that. They each have a little bit of there are advantages to each, let's say. The Dropbox, I like how I can sync over my home network very rapidly right to my home PC. But the problem is I'm only up to about 13 gigabytes of free storage on Dropbox, so I run out of storage about twice as often as my phone fills up. That's a problem. So to take care of that problem, I found a new product called BitTorrent Sync. It uses the BitTorrent protocol to encrypt and send your data to whatever devices you want in little small packets distributed using a peer-to-peer network. It's very efficient, and if you're on a home network, it'll do it right over the home network. It won't even go into the cloud. It seems safe enough, it seems secure enough. Do your own research and judge for yourself, but there's no file size limitation. So for me, this is definitely the best choice. Now I don't have to stop any sooner than my phone tells me to. And I can remain assured that all of my photos and all of my videos are backed up. Google Plus has a video limit of 15 minutes, so my videos longer than 15 minutes won't auto-backed up. They are in my Dropbox, but typically I delete them after I upload them to YouTube. And as you all know, I have this tendency to try and clean up my YouTube queue. I manage it and end up deleting older videos accidentally. It's very easy because after you select something, it's always additive. It doesn't deselect anything. So it's easier than you'd think to delete old videos. It'd be nice to have a warning or an undelete option for a short period, but no such luck exists for the moment. We just have to be happy with the fact that YouTube is free. It doesn't cost us a penny. Yep. Alright. We're ready. So, set that down. I've burnt myself with the falling heat gun before. You don't want to do that. Okay. Lay it out. I make sure it's true with the board that I'm going to use to flatten it. Put it on the mark. And especially since this one's going to be very flat, the way I distribute my weight will determine the taper. I can look at it from the side and see if it's how I want it. And yeah, this is pretty close to perfect. Basically, even if you don't heat the pipe as much as you could, you can get a very flat taper by leaning in near handle. And then you can rock back and forth, and you'll get the pipe very, very flat. That's how I made a recurve bow recently for somebody. They wanted a very light bow, and it's only about 15 pounds at full draw. It's more of a prop than anything, but hey, for a kid, something like that could be perfect. I haven't flattened on concrete for a while, so this is going to be interesting. I hope it is as good as I remember in terms of the rapidity with which it draws the heat out of the material. Concrete's dense, it should be a nice heat sink. And then, it's always very easy. If you find you over-flatten the pipe, particularly right near the handle, you can always go back and hit it with the heat gun to puff it up a little bit. You just want it to start to round. You don't want it to completely come out of shape. Take a look, check true and straightness. Looks pretty good. Yeah, happy with that. Good. So now, I'm going to go ahead, flatten the other limb just like it is, and then we'll get down to the actual business of flattening the SIAs, the terminal portion. Ken is going to go and carve them out, and I can go and show you the picture that he used, the diagram that he used to inspire this whole project. But I'll do that after I start with the SIAs. So, check back in a few seconds, and we should be fading over to that procedure. Alright, YouTube, welcome back. Right now we've got the bow all flattened up, both limbs flattened. I've marked 6 inches from each tip, and then we're going to both reflex them to about 3 inches and flatten them forward to back. Here we go. This should be pretty simple and straightforward. Well, again, I've said it before, but be careful hitting the sides with the heat. If you do this too much, I've experienced way more problems with the PVC tearing, overheating and tearing. If you're careful and only heat the flat portions up until it starts to round, you'll probably be okay. No, I can only say that's my experience. Maybe it's my PVC, maybe it's my heat gun, maybe who knows. But that's just my experience, and your mileage may vary. Once it starts to open up and flatten, you'll be able to hit the sides. But until then, I'd be really careful. It's starting to round in the back. That's good. And it's starting to open at the mouth. Excellent. Once it does that, you can usually hit it from the front, and it'll speed up the process of rounding. Now it's round enough I can go and hit it from every side without too much concern for it. It's never going to get completely 100% round like it was because you flattened it really hard. If you look on the inside, you can even see creases. So the material is definitely permanently deformed by that to some extent. So don't expect it to get completely round. So if you're using just that as a visual indicator of when it's ready, you'll be surprised. Okay, let's go ahead and get ready now. Basically, put this in here. Lay it down, start to press it. Now once I'm happy with it, I can go and take the clamp and I can clamp it. In this case, I'm probably going to clamp it from the other side. So let's just flip it like so. There we go. I like that. So now I can look down the length of the pipe to make sure that I have it rotated, that it's straight. So you can twist it to make sure it's straight. I'm looking down the length of the pipe. Especially on the early ones you do like this, it's easy to get them out of alignment. That's easy to fix. All you have to do typically is go and reheat the pipe near the base. That'll allow you to twist it, turn it, do whatever you need to. Okay, looking good. Wish I had a ruler out here. I could measure 3 inches and then I could get a better idea. But just eyeballing it, I think that's about right. I always support the other side and I always hold it because, again, I want to be able to twist it, straighten it, make sure it's in alignment. You can also hold it from this side and look down it through the flattening jig. That works. Basically do whatever feels best to you. You've also seen me use just boards a lot, and heck, it works. Why not? There's certainly no problem with just going ahead and using single 2x4 and putting that on the a table to flatten it. Great. Yep. We're just about ready to take this off, and then we can cool it, work on the other side. A simple way to make sure that you reflex each side the same amount, get a long flat surface like a wall, a table, a counter, the edge of a countertop. And what I do is I then just put both edges, hold the bow, and put both seas up against the countertop. If the whole bow is flat and straight and parallel to the countertop edge, you know you've done it pretty much right. If not, you can always go back and adjust it. So let's take that out. We actually do have an inch scale here, so we can take a look. Perfect. Just about 3 inches. Yeah, I like this a lot. So there it is. Basically a nice little kind of banana shaped end. This is eventually going to be cut probably in right around here and then trimmed to a point, something like that. So let me go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. There we go. The mouth starts to open. Put some heat in it. Just continue rounding it, and then we're just about ready to go and put it in the flattening jig. This is a very straightforward bow. This is actually very, very similar to the pseudo Magyar bow that I made for Eli, about a month ago. The only difference was, I think they might have been 7-inch Sias, but other than that, very similar. Okay, set with that. Again, let's put this in the flattening jig. Let's go and get the clamp. Okay, again, looking down the end to make sure it's straight. We make minor twists and changes. You can also do that later. So just, do it however you prefer, really. It's not that critical. You can always reheat. But remember that reheating it is generally less ideal than just fixing the problem now. Because if you have to reheat it later at the same spot, you're going to be weakening it. Maybe not substantially, but nevertheless, you will be weakening it. So again, I'm just supporting it from one side, looking down it to make sure it's straight. And actually a good way to do that is look at the far side. You'll then see two ghost images, what each eye sees around it. So you can just center it using those images. Assuming the limbs are straight, you get a pretty good result doing that. Very nice. Very, very nice. In other news, I think I've destroyed my heat gun, or at least it's in the process of being destroyed. Seeing as it's lasted well over a year, I'm pretty happy with it. But we may be in the market for a new one shortly. I dropped it a few times recently, and it started spitting out pieces of what appear to be heat shield. Now I haven't noticed anything smoking, no funny smells, no funny sounds, so it all seems to be normal for the moment, but I'm fully expecting it to self-destruct sometime in the near future. I'm not sure if that means I'd upgrade to a new model or if I'd just get one more of the same. Here you go, look, see, now it's strong enough to hold itself. It will pull some of the reflex out here, but that's actually what I want it to do. Excellent. Alright, that's the whole process, basically. This is just a project bow, so I'm going to be sending it off maybe even as soon as today. I can go ahead and just get some other sizes of PVC. I'll cut to the handle size to build up to make just a good size handle. This is going to look nice, and I'm really eager to see how it turns out. I'm sure this is going to be a real heck of a beauty. I may have to make one of these for myself, but we'll have to see exactly what Ken does. I'm just excited to see and find out. And I'm excited to be a part of all this sort of cool stuff. And if you are on the PVC crafting community on Google+, link up at the top, you could be too. Come on and join us. It's really fun. We talk about lots of cool stuff like this. You know, I always post links to my blog where sometimes you'll find stuff that's not on the YouTube videos. So join us, please. It would be fun, and thanks for watching. We'd be glad to have you.